Hi, I'm Irving, and I'm an Adamaniac.
The park is ready, Commissioner. The police are ready. All the flower children in Gotham City are ready for their fancy flower in, but there are no flowers.
No flowers in Gotham City, Chief O'Hara?
Somehow, someone has cornered the flower market. Mainly the lilacs. Oh, sure. There's going to be trouble at that flower inn with no flowers, Begorra.
The flower children were kind of the precursors of the hippies. They staged sit-ins in parks and things like that where they shared flowers with people and wished peace on everyone. That's literally all they did. A lot of establishment folks didn't like it and started declaring them a menace. Next thing we knew, we had permit processes, people were getting arrested and fined for loitering in public parks. What's a public park for? And the flower children retreated to places like the Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco and became hippies. That was when the movement discovered drugs, too. They had a good idea, calling for peace and especially calling for an end to the Vietnam War. But within about 2 years, the drugs became the focus of the movement, and it wasn't about peace and love anymore. It was about expanding your mind through chemistry. A lot of folks still marched, sang, and lobbied for peace, but most of them were pretty stoned when they did it. It didn't help their credibility. We already know who cornered the flower market because we saw him roll into town last week. He goes by Louie the Lilac.
Well, what do you expect to gain by that, Louie?
Some of the young people of the flower generation will be the future leaders of the country, Arbutus. And when I have them within my flower power and control their minds, Gotham City will be my garden to loot and plunder. And later, the world.
How does he propose to control their minds? He must have something up his sleeve because he's ready to begin. He says, we'll start with Princess Primrose. She's one of the major leaders of the flower children. This is a pretty good picture of the average flower child gathering. People sitting around talking to each other and having fun. Some of them did outrageous things like this snake charming bit, but most of the time they just chilled and hung out. That's Princess Primrose who got out of the basket. She and her friend Dogwood there are trying to figure out how to have a flower in without any flowers when she spots an old friend.
Barbara Gordon!
Hello, Thelma.
It's not Thelma any longer, Barbara. I'm Princess Primrose.
I can't blame her for changing her name. She explains that she's a flower child now and Barbara should join the festivities.
Cool, man, and you'll blow your mind. I think we'll call you Hyacinth.
I think you flipped a petal or two.
It's Louie the Lilac in his flower mobile. Oh, I knew Louie the Lilac would come to our rescue.
Since he's the one who held back all the flowers in the first place, bringing them back doesn't seem like such a huge favor. The flower children gather around Louie's flower mobile to catch the flowers he's tossing out.
Ah, Princess Primrose. Come, let's go back to my greenhouse and plan our worldwide flowering.
Barbara watched the whole thing, and she's concerned as Primrose gets into Louie's car and they drive away. Something ain't right here.
But, Daddy, somehow he mesmerized her and then drove off with her.
Barbara, the police have many serious things to worry about.
Besides some Princess Primrose being whisked away from a public park in a flower mobile.
That's just it. She wasn't whisked away. She was kidnapped. I'm sure of it.
It isn't like Gordon not to take Barbara seriously, but since these are just flower children, that's exactly what he's doing. Not doing. And really, the reaction we're seeing from him right here was the general reaction to most anything that happened among the flower children and later the hippies. We don't like them, so whatever happens among them isn't our problem. What Gordon and O'Hara are doing here is a pretty good picture of things I saw happen in the real world more than once.
And she's a friend of mine. I went to college with her when she was Thelma Jones.
We're late for a meeting with the city council, Barbara. Relax.
I can't relax. Oh, I'm late, too. I should have been at the library an hour ago.
Barbara, a good librarian is a calm librarian.
And now he's talking down to her. This is very out of character. Blowing off her concerns I can understand, but he's being condescending. Not cool, man. We do not dig that scene. Barbara decides to take drastic action.
I probably shouldn't have used this phone, Batman. I hope I'm not disturbing you.
Not at all. Robin and I were just putting a flower decal on the Batmobile. We're to be guests of honor at a flower inn this afternoon.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. The flower inn.
While they discuss it, Primrose has come out of her stupor at Louie's place.
I don't know what you did to me, Louie, or why I'm here, but how can I run a flower in from this greenhouse?
Flower inns aren't of prime importance to me, Primrose. It's the flower children, and you're their princess.
Sometimes I think I'm too much of a ding-a-ling. So does Barbara Gordon.
She has nothing to do with it except she was walking through the park when Louie arrived today, so I'm not sure why Primrose brought her up or why Louie gets so nervous.
Police Commissioner Gordon? All right, Primrose. Into the hothouse. Good place to keep you out of sight until your friends get my message. Lock the door. When the stupefying aromatic spray my pocket lilac wears off, she may try to get out.
So that's how he does it. And it's an accurate enough spray that it only affects the person he pointed at and not anybody who happens to be nearby. That's how aromas behave in the atmosphere, you know. The things you learn from this show. He tells one of his men to tail Barbara Gordon because there's no telling what she told her father. Not to worry, just like today, nobody believed the woman's story anyway.
I don't dig this fade out of Princess Primrose, and I don't dig Louie the Lilac either, or his plastic flowers. I mean, flower people try to do good, you know, and spread joy pollen. But all Louie does is make a bad scene. So let's us make a little rumble down at Fuzztown. Come on!
They won't do anything violent. They'll probably stage a sit-in. Then when the people at Fuzztown get enough, they'll ask who the spokesperson is and what they want. When I was in college, I led 2 different sit-in groups like this because the administration wasn't listening to our concerns. When we were done, they listened. Non-violent protest gets things done. Down at Fuzztown, I can't help it, I love that word, Batman and Robin are discussing Barbara's call with Gordon and O'Hara.
My daughter Barbara had no right to call you with a red phone, Batman. It precipitated the first real argument we've ever had.
'Tis a sad thing to hear.
She was understandably concerned about Princess Primrose. And this Louie the Lilac, what do you know about him?
Gordon says we know very little, but at the end of the previous episode they called him a well-known notorious gangster. Plus, we've seen him here before. I would think that would be enough to act on Barbara's concerns.
Commissioner, there are a bunch of flower children out here to see you.
Flower children? All right, send them. Wait a minute, Bonnie. Hold on a second.
We'll go out the window and down the bat ropes, otherwise we'll be mobbed.
Mobbed? In police headquarters?
The flower children think we're cool, man, like we turn them on, you know?
We're like the grooviest thing and digging us as their bag, man. Robin's 60s slang sounds about as real as Batman's robot alter ego in the last episode.
Not a bit, Mr. Wayne, not a bit. Yes, please be gentle with your visitors, Commissioner. Although it may not be understood by more literal minds, in their own way, they're doing what they can to correct the world's woes with love and flowers.
We've seen this a lot through the series. Gordon represents the conservative establishment. We have it the way we want it and the world should never change. While Batman tends to embrace a more progressive view, he'll take a movement like the Flower Children or something similar, evaluate it on its own merits, and then try to find ways to explain to the stick-in-the-muds that it's not the world-ending disaster they think it is. It's subtle. In fact, this is about the most direct it's gotten yet. But it's there most of the time, a rumbling undercurrent of conflict between the old and the new. It provides a lot of food for thought. While Gordon tells Bonnie to send the Flower Children in, Batman and Robin discover that Louie has been at the Batmobile.
What's that?
It's a flowery little advertising card, Robin. Lila's Lilac Shop, 11 Lavender Lane. This bears investigation. I strongly suspect that this lilac-colored card could be a plant.
Ah, a little pun there, because lilacs and other flowers are plants. Let's just go see what's up at this shop. Lila is so proud of her display, she's made herself up to look like another lilac, I think, and she wants to show off a little bit for Batman.
And I have some other very rare lilacs in the rear room.
She has a rare rear room.
Oh, dear, how clumsy I am.
I'll get them. Robin, look out. Those could be poison alba vulgaria.
That's exactly what it was, and he hit you with a pot of ceramicus. Meanwhile, Barbara is explaining to Charlie that some guy followed her home. If he found the fire escape...
What are you doing on this terrace?
Just admiring the view of Gotham City, lady, that's all.
From my terrace, face the wrong way? The police will be interested in this.
The police ain't gonna be interested in nothing at all, lady.
Louie just said to follow her. He didn't say to assault her in her own home. What are you doing?
Man-eating lilacs. Holy purple cannibals.
Exactly, boy blunder. A rare species just in from Brazil, which I crossed with even more carnivorous plants. And gusty gourmands they are. They got a hold of an explorer one day in the jungle and left nothing but his shoelaces.
They don't just eat flesh, they eat clothing and metal and everything else. These are some nasty plants.
I'm sorry, sir, he's out.
Out where?
I don't know, sir. When he and Master Robin left this morning, they were on their way to your office.
And when they left this office, they were on their way back to the Batcave to consult the Bat computer about a renowned criminal named Louie the Lilac.
As we've seen many times, Alfred is the real brains of this operation. He consults the Bat computer himself and comes up with Lila's shop.
At least they're gentle about it, Batman. I haven't felt one bite me yet.
Man-eating lilacs have no teeth, Robin. It's a process of ingestion through their tendrils.
They secrete a chemical that dissolves your flesh into liquid so it can absorb it. You're literally melting into a cappuccino for it to drink.
Batman, we've got to get out of this somehow. Can't you get to your utility belt and signal Alfred?
No, they've already consumed my utility belt, Robin.
It eats the non-living stuff first. That coats its stomach so the melted flesh doesn't give it heartburn.
Lady, it don't take no 10 minutes to powder your nose in a locked bedroom.
If she's locked herself in the bedroom, she's not powdering her nose. She's getting away from you. Or she's doing that.
Who are you? What do you want?
From one interloper to another, perhaps you might answer those questions.
I ain't interloping. A lady friend of mine just locked herself in a bedroom, that's all.
If she locked herself in the bedroom, there must have been a reason for it.
Well, that's her reason and mine, not yours. You got some connection with Batman?
Speaking of connections, what happened to that phone?
Well, she was gonna call the cops.
So you ripped out the phone and she locked herself in her bedroom. What were you doing here in the first place?
Now, wait a minute, lady. Wait a second. Everything's gonna be all right. I'm leaving right now.
Grab him and stop him. Isn't that kind of what you Bat people do?
Get out of here. The cops and the father, Commissioner Gould.
There isn't time. She has to be Barbara when her dad gets there.
Oh, Barbara, I've been so worried about you. And what was Batgirl doing here?
Batgirl? I believe you saw the intruder who followed me home from the library. I tried to call you at the office, but he ripped out the phone.
Put a cordon of men around this building and have that phone repaired.
She locked herself in the bedroom, he realized the police were coming, and he left. Situation resolved. Gordon isn't so sure.
When you wanted to be on your own, when you insisted on taking an apartment, I was afraid something like this would happen.
Oh, Daddy, nothing's happened. I locked myself in the bedroom and I'm perfectly all right, really.
I still think you should move back home.
As a father of 3 daughters, you gotta let go a little, dude. Every generation has to be free to make their own mistakes.
Is that what you were trying to call me about?
No, I thought you might have dinner with me tonight.
If Barbara started charging admission, she could be set for life in 2 weeks. Alfred fills her in on what he's learned and where they were last seen.
I can't tell all you flower children what a fine and generous man Louie the Lilac is, and how he's cornered the flower market to make this flower in a success, and what hopes and dreams he has for us and the future of the world. And what hopes and dreams he has.
The drug is wearing off right in the middle of her speech. Dogwood steps in.
You tripped out, Primrose. I mean, groovy, but in the wrong groove.
You're right, man. Oh, he's tuned out, drifting. And now he's putting a period on Batman and Robin in his poisonous purple pad.
Batman and Robin? Wow, man, he ought to be called Louie the Louse.
Get us out of here, Acacia.
Time to make tracks.
After him!
Of course they have a lilac-colored truck. They're flower children.
I've managed to loosen one foot. There's a flower pot next to it. If I can just kick it through that glass...
Then he can pick up a piece of glass with his foot and cut himself free?
Wonder how the Brazilian man-eaters are doing with the dynamic duo.
Oh, they're not even chewed up a little.
Nor will we be. A word of advice, Louie. One blast of cool air kills these blooming cannibals far quicker than they can devour any human repast.
So any cool air kills these plants instantly. So every time anybody opens the door, the lilacs all die and he has to start over again. Or it only lets in cool air when you smash the window, not when you open it with the knob. I didn't see anything resembling a dual door or an airlock. And I was doing so good, too. Louie calls two henchmen and suddenly half a dozen or so appear. It's a seesaw fight with Batman and Robin prevailing for a while, then the henchmen start to get the upper hand. Then a new contestant enters the fray. And she's not playing around! She really isn't playing around.
She's got a spray can of powdery mildew.
Don't use it. Don't use that spray. Anything it touches molds and decays.
She just sprayed him in the face with poison and laughed about it. There's a side of Batgirl that we may not want to see. Did she kill him?
Batman, there's about 1,000 flower children outside. They found your flower mobile and they're after your budding scalp.
Louie, it looks like it's lilac time for you.
Never. Never! Never!
Batman, he's throwing himself into the man-eating lilacs.
No, he's just wilting, whatever that means. And he threw himself into a pile of dead plants. He should be easy enough to wrap up.
Go back outside and calm the flower children.
They'll mob me.
Groovy.
50 years later, I'm still not sure what Batman meant by that.
And I think your car's arriving. Batgirl, would you take this young lady?
She's gone, Batman. She knew when to get out of here. Smart dame. Who is she?
I don't know. I never have. Perhaps I never will. But I wish I did.
From there, we get another round of the Batgirl theme while she rides her Batgirl cycle down the road. Back at the flower shop, Batman and Robin are wrapping up the case of Louie the Lilac.
Holy hoofbeats.
Exactly, Robin. And if I'm not mistaken, a band of Bessarabian Cossacks just rode by.
I'll go, wait for me, I'll go.
Looks like Egghead is next week's villain, and he's off to a rip-roaring start. Go, donkey, go!
Oh, come on, Eggsy. Darling, hurry up, we don't have all day. Oh, I'll go. Come on! I'll go, wait for me, wait.
After all that, I'm still fuzzy on what Louie's plan was. He wants to control the flower children, and then what? What's he want to do with them? He says he wants to control the flower market, but how does that help him? The flower child movement lasted maybe 3 years before it disappeared into the hippie movement on the West Coast and the yippie movement on the East Coast. Louie's mind control potion lasted maybe 3 minutes, so that's even worse. And I really want somebody to make a horror movie out of the plant that ate the utility belt. I'm Irving, and I'm an Adamaniac.